In this video, I'm going to be covering willingness under the umbrella of acceptance. Willingness is a really important part of acceptance because when we're asking a client to, if I can use the word accept, we're asking them to hold discomfort. And when someone is being asked to hold discomfort, willingness always shows up. There's a willingness that we need to work with the client around them deciding, are they going to do so or not? Willingness comes into contact also with values, because usually we would be willing to contact discomfort in the service of a value that we hold, but I don't want to touch values in this video at the moment. So we will be purely looking at willingness and acceptance. There's a model that I think is really important to share with you, and also that you can share with your clients, to go out and do some psychoeducation around how what expectations one can have when putting themselves in discomfort. And through that, we're able to go out and promote a willingness to hold discomfort. So the model looks like this. Over here, we have our intensity side, and across here, we have time. So this is intensity, and that's intensity of sensations. And over here, we have time. So what we're asking clients to do is to go out and increase their intensity of discomfort, to hold discomfort over time, and importantly, we need to go out and gauge what's their willingness to do so that they're able to go out and achieve some of those results, and obviously in the service of a value that they hold. So an example, an easy way that I can explain this is if I use a bit of an example, and let's for example's sake, say that a snake crawls into this room. And so here I am standing, and let's say about 5 meters away, I notice that a snake has crawled in. When that snake crawls in, what will happen is I will go from rest all the way up to highly aroused, highly emotive. I'll be quite anxious and so on. So I'm going to be standing here 5 meters away. The snake is there. My arousal's gone up, and it's going to sit there for quite some time. What's interesting though is that maybe 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, even 5 minutes later, we would tend to start seeing that the arousal doesn't stay at its absolute peak. It might take 10 minutes, it might take 15 minutes, but generally we tend to find that these things will come down quite quickly, in fact. So it will stay there for a while before it starts to dip down. So if I'm here for 30 minutes and the snake is still sitting there, and I'm still standing here with about a 5 meter distance, I'm going to be feeling still aroused, but a lot calmer than I was initially. Let's say the snake goes away and I'm able to go to rest. Another snake comes in and sits 5 meters away again. So what happens is my arousal goes up once again, except this time it goes, and it comes down. Now, there's a very, very, very small difference there. It might only come down only a couple of minutes earlier. So rather than, let's say if this one took 15 minutes, this one might take 12 minutes or so. It would really depend on the individual, but it would generally happen somewhat quicker. Let's say that snake goes away and another one comes a little while after. Once again, my arousal will go up. But this time we would find it would do this. And that snake would then leave, and another one will come sometime after. And as you can guess, it comes down quite quickly until it actually shoots up on the 5th occasion or the 6th occasion, where it doesn't actually bring me to the highest arousal, and it'll come down a lot quicker. And once again, it won't come up as high. It won't come up as high, and won't come up as high. So it's a very similar to a normal systematic desensitization type of approach. What's important when we're looking at working with clients, and in particular trying to harness acceptance, is we're looking for willingness, in actual fact, to be putting ourselves in discomfort. It's the willingness component that we're working on. So what I really want to focus on here is very few clients would be willing to approach a snake. It would be too arousing to begin with. what we want to do is to find a spot. If I just say this is 10 out of 10 and this is 0, what we want to do is find a spot that fits in I suppose, a bit of a challenge, but is manageable. And once again, maybe here as well, making that manageable. So what I would generally do is look at a hierarchy of discomfort, and we might go out and explore what the different elements are within that discomfort. So it doesn't need to be a snake. If we're looking at anxiety, we might look at how someone might get themselves in a situation where they are socially exposed to a lot of people and they get anxious in that scenario. Or if it's, let's say, a low type of presentation, so a depressing presentation, we might look at how we might promote behavioural activation, how to get someone moving again. And we'd be doing that in that little sweet spot there. So I'll give you a bit of an example of how I've run this with a client of mine previously to give you a bit of an understanding of how we would use this challenge, that challenge zone there. So the client that I had was a young man who was wanting to meet a girl, wanting to have a relationship, but he was quite caught up and quite entangled around the discomfort that's going to bring, the anxiety that's going to bring, particularly those sensationary experiences. So what we went out and devised is we look at what's the next step that he can do to introducing himself to a girl. And what was interesting, it wasn't to go up to someone he's looking to start a relationship with, but rather just get him in that scenario. So we devised a little bit of an experiment where he would go along to a shopping centre, in actual fact a grocery store, and purchase, let's say, bubble gum. And as he goes through the cash register, he'd make sure that it was a female attendant, and he would simply say, "Hi." And in going out and saying hi, that would go out and arouse his emotional state. So he would go up. But saying hi wasn't too bad. Because he had said hi on some occasions, but not often, that was a nice place to start. So what he did is he'd go out and he'd say hi, and it wouldn't be too bad, and he'd do it again, and he'd do it again. And then all of a sudden it wasn't actually arousing very much at all. So we extended that out a little bit where he would say, "Hi, how are you?" And it sounds very basic, but what happens is, how are you comes up to there, it holds a little bit longer, and then it goes down. And when he repeats that over and over again, we get that scenario again. Now what's interesting is this chap, after a number of weeks, and he was practicing quite a lot in actual fact, he came back to me, and he was smiled from ear to ear, and he actually said that he was able to have conversations with attendants where he would say, "Hi, how are you?" And then he extended that to, "How long have you got left on your shift?" And they would say, another 4 hours. And then he'd say, "Oh, geez, that's long." And then they'd have a bit of a chuckle, and they got into a very brief small talk scenario, which is exactly what we were trying to go out and produce. Interestingly, confidence built over that time. Just like if I was to be exposed over and over and over again to the snake scenario, I would get confident in having snakes within my, I suppose, general area. I'd be familiar with that. And likewise, he was able to do the same. But what we were actually doing is we worked on willingness, not asking him to do too much. Because if we asked him to do too much, he would do experiential avoidance. He'd end up avoiding, escaping, or finding reasons why not to go out and do the activity. And if it was too easy, like say nothing, it wouldn't benefit at all. So we gave him a little bit of willingness. It was in the service of something that's important to him connecting with someone, very important, and he was able to go out and repeat that. Very powerful stuff, but willingness is the key, trying to find that spot there, and then working on acceptance, understanding that it's going to go out and cause some discomfort. Over practice, what happens is he's able to hold that discomfort some more, and then he's able to do that more readily without it causing so much distress. Sometimes it would still cause angst, but because he's practiced in being able to hold that, it doesn't actually cause him that level of avoidance or that level of angst, so he's able to do it more often. So it's a really nice way to start that. Work on that with your clients. This is the psychoeducation that you can go out and use, and it gives clients a capacity to expect, or have an expectation of what's going to occur. And as we can see, the expectation is it comes down, which is really nice. Once again, improving willingness. So work on willingness when you're working alongside acceptance or experiential acceptance, and it'll produce much better results. Enjoy.